the odds of me making it as a musician, as you get older, those odds go down further and further and further. So eventually I just, kind of gave up. I kind of gave up on that dream, but that was the original dream. I told you guys that I always pick different hobbies that you can become successful in and make money in. And, I always try to be the best, right? But I also know how to allocate my resources. And as I got older, I started to realize, like, okay, this is starting to become a pipe dream. I was in a band for a while, but I'm like, this is becoming a pipe dream. Like, the odds of me blowing up as a musician, very slim. So I jumped to something else, right? And I just started putting all my focus into that. And from one thing to the other, I jumped from like the guitar to photography, well, to art first, to art, photography, then entrepreneurship, then programming, and now I do the streaming and the YouTube shit with the programming mixed. So there's only enough time in the day. Like, you can't have all those hobbies. All of those hobbies I just mentioned will take all of your time if you really are dedicated, right? And I'm a pretty dedicated person, man. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to put my all into it. So playing guitar, I just didn't have enough time. I just didn't have enough time. He says, plays guitars. That's how he gets the bitches. Plays guitars and sings. Hey, man, great. That was my strategy too, bro. I'm not going to lie. That was my original intention. My original intention was to get the hoes with the music, bro, because it works. Anybody who plays an instrument knows, especially guitar. Playing the drums is a bit harder to get the bitches playing drums, but playing guitar, you can get hella bitches playing guitar, bro. That was my first goal. Then when I got a little bit older, I started going to, like, those little shows at little venues with my friends. And I saw that the guys that were in bands were getting hella bitches in bands too. So then I wanted to get a band, and I wanted my band to blow up. The band's name was Dokalfar, which is German for dark elf. And we had fun, but we never actually had any decent shows, right? So like I said, for your band to blow up, you need to have, like, every single person in that bitch needs to be super talented, not just one or two people. And you have to have good songs. And you can do covers. And I think we did a few covers, but you really want to come up with your own songs. That's where the real freaking attention and fame is going to come in. And we just never got to that level because I was in Panama, right? So I was, like, basically in Panama trying to do something that nobody really it's like a subculture. But yeah, that was my first hobby. My very first hobby was guitar. Yeah, pretty much. Let me think. Yeah, that was it. I mean, I guess skateboarding. I wanted to talk to you guys about the skateboarding thing too in the past. That was what I had written down on my notes for a few days ago, skateboarding. So let me start from the very beginning, because before I got into guitar, I was into skateboarding. Heavy. Like, when I say skateboarding, I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are thinking like, oh, a little kid skating around. No, I was on that crazy shit, bro. I was jumping off of ledges, jumping down sets of stairs, grinding down freaking, what are these called in English? The handrails. Like, me and my buddies, we were on some crazy demon time with the skateboards. Skipping school to go skateboarding, skipping school to go to the local skate park. And that was in Panama. So you got to imagine the skate park wasn't even like an official skate park. It was essentially, there was a supermarket that they tore down, but they left like the floors and some of the walls and the stairwell. And the local community in Panama turned that shit into a skate park, essentially. They cleaned up all the debris, moved all the debris out of the way. They brought in a ramp. They brought in a half pipe that we made. They made a half pipe. The stairwell, they added a handrail to it. Like, these guys were crazy, dude. So I would essentially skip school to go to that little skate park with my friends. And we would just skate the day away, man. We'd skate the day away. Skateboarding, really, honestly, I think is something that really formed a major part of my personality. And it kind of saddens me to see that nowadays we don't have that many kids into that subculture, man. You drive around the streets and you don't see any kids, to be honest, let alone kids carrying skateboards. Yo, Christopher Michael, thank you for joining the stream, bro. Hope you're having a great Saturday afternoon. He says, I was in a rock band cover band. Yeah, so skateboarding was my first passion, and that passion started in middle school. Like I said, when we moved from America to Panama, missed school for 2 years because my mom was kind of slacking in the parenting area of life, and we had no money. And during that second year, I met some kids at the local church that we went to that were skateboarders. And I would just hang out with them. I didn't even have a skateboard at the time. I would just hang out with them and they would like let me use their skateboard once in a while. We'd share it and shit. And then eventually my dad started sending some child support money. And the first year he sent child support money, my mom enrolled us in a pretty expensive school in Panama, like a boarding school almost. And in that school, there were kids that were skateboarders and they had real money and they had real skateboards, like the real brand name skateboards. So I saved up my money and I ended up buying one. And that's when I got into skateboarding. And like I said, I've always had a very obsessive personality. If I'm going to do something, I'm putting my 100% into it. You guys think that it's easy to accomplish this, guys? I feel like people don't understand how difficult it is to accomplish this. Like, there's a reason why I was able to get a supercar. There's a reason why I have the money to get a supercar in the future. It's because every single hobby, every single thing that I've dedicated my life to, I put 100% into it. I never half-ass the things I do. Yo, James Grander, thank you for joining the stream. He says, out of all the things you could have worn and you put on the polo you've worn 5 times on stream, bro, you guys think that I get dressed up? I'm in my house, dude. Like, this is not even like, this is not a dress up polo. This is just some shit I throw on in my house. Ay. You think I'm going to dress up for a stream in my own freaking house, bro? In my own living room? That's crazy.